Uh, Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the ADF demo session. Today, we are just going to discuss on how to build a simple ADF page. And once the ADF page has been developed, we'll try to deploy that ADF page on a local WebLogic server so that we can test our ADF page, whatever we have developed, it's working perfectly fine or not. Before deploying it onto the remote application server, we'll just deploy our ADF page on our integrated WebLogic server, which is inbuilt in the JDeveloper tool. So before starting with the ADF page development, I'll just try to give you a background how the ADF page is built and what tool we use for building the ADF page. Currently we are using Oracle JDeveloper. The current version what we are doing for the development of ADF page is 11.116. We have got higher version of JDeveloper as well. Like we have got 11.117 and very soon we'll get a 12c version for Oracle JDeveloper. So currently I'm using 11.116. When I installed this JDeveloper, the ADF plugins were already inbuilt into this particular JDeveloper, which gives us the provision of developing the ADF page. And when you install the JDeveloper, you also get an option of installing the integrated WebLogic server, which is there in the JDeveloper itself. What happens is, like, when you develop the ADF page, you want to deploy the ADF page. This ADF page will get deployed locally on your integrated WebLogic server. It will get hosted on your local host. That is the default IP for any PC is 127.0.0.1. It will get hosted on that particular server for the port number 157. There is one port 7101. It is a default port for the ADF page when you deploy it onto the WebLogic server locally. I'll just show you like where do we see the integrated WebLogic server. Go to view, we have application server navigator option. Click on that. We have application server over here. Click expand the application server. We have the integrated WebLogic server. Once you develop the page and deploy it onto the integrated WebLogic server, the page gets deployed in this particular folder, deployment folder. Here you can see few pages have been deployed over here. Similarly, now we are going to create a page, we'll build a page and we'll deploy onto the integrated WebLogic server. So currently, like, what the objective of this ADF page will be is like it's just going to be a master detail relationship. We'll have a master form like UI, and based on that master records we'll have the detailed records. So before starting with the ADF page, first we need to create an ADF application. For that, you just need to go to file, click on new over here. You need to select application over here. Since we are talking about ADF, we have to choose ADF application. Click on OK button. Give a meaningful name for your ADF application. ADF application will give. And we can give a default package prefix for our ADF application. Since the name is meaningful, nuadf.app will give the same name and click on next. Once that first step creates an application under that prefix path. Now under application we have to create a project, ADF project. In ADF, when you're talking about project, there are two things, model and a view controller. For the time being, just note down that model deals with the backend layer and view controller deals with the UI layer, which talks with the database and presents the data in a UI. So as you see in the project, we are getting the model option. You have to you can give a default name for the model or you can give any name for your model. I'm giving the default one. And from project technologies, you just have to choose ADF business component and Java. This automatically gets selected. If it is not selected, you have to choose these two options when you are preparing the model layer. click on next for it. uh, you can give a default package. Since the name is absolutely fine for my model, under app I have a model, so I'll give the default one and click on next. Now we have the second part of the project, that is the view controller, which I already spoken about. So for views controller I have got these things automatically selected, so let it be and click on next button. I have the default package name for my view controller. It is fine, I'll keep it as a default option and click on finish. Once you click on the finish button, your project skeleton project gets created. As you see on the left hand side of the navigator, your model and view controller got created. The model is an empty model. View controller has got the folder structure ready, but it doesn't have the UI ready. So as before, I had spoken about what is model and what is view controller. I'll brief you more on what is model. Model deals with the backend layer. It deals with the BC4J component. What is BC4J component? BC4J stands for Business Component for Java. It has three parts: entity object, view object, and an application module. Entity object is based on tables. So we can have multiple entity objects. Suppose if two entity objects are related with each other, an association gets created. So this is about entity object and association. Similarly, if you go to just next level, we have a view object. View object gives the view of your data. It is based on entity object. View object can be based on multiple entity object. And if we can have multiple view objects as well, and if view objects are related with each, if suppose two view objects are related with each other, view links get created. We have two different types of view objects. We have updatable view objects and we have read only view objects. Read only view objects we can't edit, updatable we can edit. Then to the next level we have the application module. Application module is based on the view object. It deals with the database and it does the transaction management, that is the rollback or commit on a particular data on a database. Since we have spoken about BC4J component, once your model is ready, you have to test your model whether it is working perfectly fine or not. To test your model, you need to run your application module, whatever has been created. You just need to run your model, application module. If data appears, it means that the things are ready, like it is fine. So when we had clicked on the finish button for the ADF project, a review checklist got this popped up. We need to choose the build business service option over here. Click on it. As you can see, it is showing the status as not started. If you see the drop down, you have different status for it. If you are of in between of building the business service, you can give in process. If you have already prepared your business service, you can change the status to done. And if you're not preferring to build, keep the option as will not do. Since we have to build a business service, currently we'll keep it as not started. After completing it, we'll change the status to done. So we'll go to substep over here. We have different options for creating a business service. First, we need to create an entity object and association. Then we need to create a view object. Then we need to create a view link. Then an application module. Once it is done, then we can, and each unit level we have different status. You can change the status at each unit level, or as a whole you can change the status. So let's start for the create entity object and association option. Click on it. uh, Click on the create entity object and association button. Since project has two part, model and view controller, currently we are dealing with the model part. Select model and click on OK button. We have to create a database connection. We'll just create a database connection on hr1. We'll give the username, password, our host name is hp, and select the just test the connection whether it is working fine or not. Yeah, it's working fine. It is running on 1521 port. Click on OK. You have got the database connection ready. So you need to create an entity object. So give a meaningful path. Under model, I have the entity object. Need to choose a table. On what table my entity object will be based on. I want to be based on employees and department. I'll select both and click on arrow button. Both got selected. I'll give a meaningful name for my entity object, departments EO. Similarly for employees, I'll have employees EO and click on next button. Now I have to create a view object out of my entity object. I'll give a meaningful name for my view object. I'll select both the entity object. First, I'll give employees EOVO, departments EOVO, and then I'll have the employees EOVO and click on next. This is an updatable view object. It can be updatable, and this on clicking next we are getting an option for read view only object. For this particular use case, I'm not using read view only object. I'll skip this page and click on next straight away. Now I have to create an application module. I'll give an application module path, give change the application module name or give the default name and click on next. Next and click on finish. This will create my BC4J component. As you can see on the left hand side, the folder structure is ready. Under model you have the AM application module. Everything will be in XML form. Entity objects got created, and since entities objects are related with each other, associated with each other, association got created. Similarly for view object, if you see, view objects got created, and since both the view objects were linked with each other, view links got created. So once you have completed it, you need to change the status for your build service as done and click save it. As I had spoken it before, that once your model layer is ready, you need to test your application module to check whether the model is working perfectly fine or not. Click on application module and run a button. It will take few seconds to open the model layer, and this will tell you whether the model is working perfectly fine as per the requirement or not. So we are talking about the master child relationship. So we'll straight away choose this employee department. It has got a master child relationship link. You can see for department ID 10, employee ID is working. For 20 department, 2 employees are working. Similarly for department 30, you have multiple employees working under department ID 30. If you want to search a particular employee in this department, go to this view criteria, click on it. If you want to search for 114 employee ID, click on it, and here you can give 114 and click on find button over here. So this will give you a search criteria for employee ID 1114. I can remove that by going there and removing it and click on find. It will give me the whole record. So this is working fine. My model layer is working perfectly fine. Go to application navigator. Yeah, so my model backend layer is working perfectly fine. I just need to create a UI for my model layer. For that, view controller helps to create a UI for me. I'll right click on view controller, click on new, and then I need to select JSF, Java Server Faces Pages. Under the web tier, I'll select my JSF page. It's a simple page. It's an unbounded task flow. From anywhere I can run this particular page. It has got no boundary. I'll select this particular page. It will ask me to give a meaningful name for my page. I'll give master demo demo page. I'm not selecting any template. I'm choosing, since I don't have a template, I'll base it on a blank page and click on OK button. It will take few minutes to develop a blank page on it. Yeah, a blank page is created. If you see on the right hand side of the navigator, you have got the component palettes. You have the components, common components, buttons, text, image, everything's are there. Then we have a layout. You have a different layout, panel tab layout. You can choose it. And whatever components you have created on the page, you have the property palette for it. You can change the behavior of the components using the property palette. On the left hand side of the navigator, you have got your data control layer, which has got your VOs. You can refresh it from here. You can see your VOs. Since we are going to display a master child relationship form, we'll be using this particular VO onto the page. It has got set of operation, predefined operation, where you want to delete a particular record, execute, find, blah blah blah. Many things are there. And on the bottom left hand structure, we have the structure part. So what we'll do is we'll straight away select this VO and drag it onto the page, and we'll get an option for master detail. Since I want the master to appear in form and detail to appear in a tabular format, I'll choose the second option. Click on it. It will take few seconds to appear on the page. Once it, oh yep, it is appearing on the page. So I just need to change the headings and all. It's not looking fine. Departments EOView, I don't want that name to appear. I want some meaningful name for it. So I'll give departments info and click on enter. Similarly for employees as well, I'll go to the employees EOView property palette and I'll give employees info. Click enter. I even want to change the width of my detailed page. I'll select the table in the structure, go to the property palette, width, I'll give some 1000, click on enter. So my UI page is ready. It's a simple page, master child relationship. If I want to run a page, I'll just click on the page and select, right click and select run button. It will take few seconds, few minutes you can say, to build the page and deploy the page onto the local integrated WebLogic server. It will get hosted on the local host. It will get a URL and it will automatically pop up on a Internet Explorer. Yeah, it is trying to open in a browser. It will take few seconds to load, and very soon we'll see the UI appearing on our browser. So once the data and all is appearing in a UI, it means yeah, it has come, and we have got the master in a form like structure and the detail in a tabular form structure. You can scroll right down to see the content. You can navigate to the next record. For department 20 you have these many records. For department 30 you have so many records. You can even want to place a column here, you can do that as per the user requirement. So that is it. This was the master child relationship presentation in a UI to see whether it is working fine in ADF or not. So thank you very much for attending the master child relationship ADF demo session. For the next demo, like, we'll have a separate use case and we'll cover it in a next presentation. Thank you for attending the session. Thank you very much. That is it. God.